Hey you guys, it's Dana and it's Tuesday, so it's time to talk about money. And today I want to talk about something that I don't usually get excited about, but today I am, and it is a new legislation. So let's talk about that. Okay, so there are three main credit bureaus, right? Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. So they are the mothership of your credit score, right? They're the ones who determine whether you have a high credit score, low credit score. They, log all of your activity. And so if you want to borrow money, then oftentimes there'll be a credit check done with one of those three bureaus. Hopefully 2 out of 3 will be checked. And so maybe you don't borrow money though, or maybe you're concerned about fraud. I have had my identity stolen in the past, many years ago, through an employer. Everybody's identity, all of their information was hacked through an email at the company that I worked for. So that was not good. And so they recommended that everybody freeze their credit, right? Freeze their credit, because that way, if the person who stole our identity or people or whoever it was, if they tried to use our information to open a credit card or to sign into our Social Security system, if they tried to file taxes, all these things, it's helpful if you freeze your credit. Now, it's not 100% fail-safe, because when new applications go in for a credit card, say, a lot of times the companies don't even bother to check the credit to see, to run it, to see whether or not there's a high or low credit score, or even if your credit's been frozen. Because when your credit is frozen, then if they do go and check it and they get back it's declined when they go to check it, they can't get the score, or they can't get the report, then it's supposed to mean, hey, you can't open a new credit card because the credit has been frozen. And then hopefully that would stop the fraud from happening. People wouldn't be able to open a credit card in your name because you have frozen it, right? Okay, you with me? But they don't always check. But at least in that 2 out of 10 times when they do go to check, it does help to protect your identity and also to help yourself so that you aren't tempted to open a new credit card when you go to the store and they say, hey, if you open a credit card here, you can save 5%, whatever. And you might be like, maybe we'll just open the credit card just to save the 5%, which is a slippery slope, because then you might end up not paying back that credit card, or you might start using it more. And as you know, on my channel, I'm all about being debt-free and not using credit cards. So if you have your credit frozen, then you might be like, oh yeah, I can't because my credit's frozen and it'll be declined if I try to apply for this credit card anyway, so I'm not going to, right? And actually, I have found multiple times in my life that that's been the truth. I've been like, oh, I can't do this anyway. I can't open the credit card. Not that I'm going to open credit cards, but I know that my credit's frozen and sort of is like a barrier to doing certain things in respects to borrowing money. All right, but in order to freeze your credit in the past, you had to pay a fee. Now, it's not a huge fee, but it was, anywhere between $3 and $15. Certain states, I believe, it was free, but I had to pay a fee if I wanted to freeze it, and then if I wanted to unfreeze it. So, for example, my daughter she plays the violin through school. So we rented a violin. Every dollar that we spend towards renting it goes towards purchasing it after a couple of years. And then as she grows, they'll give us a new violin. They'll size it up for us. So that way I didn't want to buy one, because she's growing fast and all that stuff. I know she would stick with it. Anyway, the point of the story is that we had to get our credit checked in order to get this violin for her to play at school. And I forgot that my credit was frozen. So when they went to do the credit check so we could rent this violin, they came back and said, oh, sorry, but we can't do it. So I said, oh yeah, because my credit is frozen. So that was an inconvenience, because in order to unfreeze my credit, I would have had to pay another $15 fee to unfreeze it so that they could check my credit to give us this file in, and then I'd have to go back in and freeze it again. So so it's like, okay, so it's just like every dollar is important in my world, right? And hopefully in your world too. So in that scenario, they did check my husband's credit because his was not frozen, because his identity had not been stolen. So we had never frozen his at that point. All right, but now new legislation as of September 24th means that it is free. It's free to freeze it, and it's free to unfreeze your credit, which I think is awesome, because then hopefully more people will be willing to freeze their credit because they don't have the worry of paying the fee and then the worrying about unfreezing it and having to pay a fee if you're trying to get a mortgage, say, for your house and you wanted to unfreeze it temporarily. So I think it's a really good thing that this is now free to everyone to do that. So you can freeze your credit to help protect from fraud, and also to help be a deterrent for yourself for borrowing money or opening credit cards if that's something you're struggling with, right? Maybe you're working towards getting out of debt, you're trying to clean up all your debt, pay things off. And so having everything frozen, it's just like I said, it's like in the back of your mind, like you can't open a new credit card because your credit is frozen. And in my ideal world, eventually I hope that the credit scores go away because enough people stop worrying so much about their credit score and stop borrowing money. I really hope that eventually that's where the world goes. Kind of like smoking cigarettes, where like back in the day everybody did it, it was cool, and then now you have to stand out in the cold in these awful little areas if you're gonna smoke, and it's socially unacceptable, right? I kind of feel the same way about credit cards, and I hope that we eventually get there where it's sort of like we've been, as a society, everyone's borrowing money, getting credit cards. That's the thing to do. Just put everything on credit. We just borrow money. We just borrow money to go to school. We borrow money for cars. We borrow money for everything. Put restaurants on credit cards. So I hope eventually we get to the point where that is socially unacceptable, and people are all freezing their credit because we don't care about it, because we don't want to borrow money, right? We just want to have actual money in our bank accounts and pay for things with our money when we want them. So that's the world I'm hoping that we're all headed towards, right? Not there yet. All right, but if you didn't know, you can now freeze and unfreeze your credit for free. So yay. All right, you guys, if it's your first time here, be sure to subscribe. I'm here every single Tuesday talking all about money. We are a family of 6 and we live in the Philadelphia area, and I'm very passionate about living a debt-free life. And I'm here to help to inspire you to do that, and also to help inspire and keep myself on track as far as building wealth and living debt-free. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next week.